When it comes to defending your home, nothing matters more than choosing the right tool for the job. You don't get a second chance. For generations, the shotgun's been the ultimate home defense weapon, but when it comes to shotguns, one of the biggest debates is which gauge is the best. 12 gauge, 20 gauge, or 410 bore? Each offers its own unique advantages and its own trade-offs. Today, we're diving deep into each one, cutting through the myths and marketing hype so you can decide which shotgun will give you the best chance of protecting yourself and your loved ones when everything's on the line. Shotguns bring a lot to the table. They're simple to operate, brutally effective at close range, and their spread pattern gives defenders a serious edge when fine motor skills break down under adrenaline. A shotgun's reputation for intimidation is real, but it's not just about making noise. It's about putting devastating force exactly where you need it, fast. But there's no such thing as a free lunch. Shotguns come with downsides too: recoil, limited ammunition capacity, and the potential for over-penetration inside a home. The gauge you choose plays a huge role in how these strengths and weaknesses balance out. Before we get too far, let's talk about how shotgun shells work. Gauge is an old measurement that relates to the diameter of the bore and how many lead balls of that size diameter would create 1 pound. To create a pound of lead in 12 gauge, you would need 12 lead balls, the size of the gun's bore. For 20 gauge, you'd need 20 balls because the bore is smaller. As for 410, we don't use gauge, but rather fractions of an inch, much like how we measure standard handgun loads. Basically, gauge number is inversely related to the size of the shell. Therefore, 12 gauge is the biggest, followed by 20 gauge, and eventually the wee little 410. A bigger shell holds more shot. Shot's the term used to describe the multitude of pellets inside the shotgun shell. In the defensive world of shotguns, we have two viable options: Buckshot and Slugs. Buckshot loads use fairly large pellets, ranging from the .24 inch per pellet number 4 Buckshot to the .36 inch per pellet triple-aught Buckshot. On the other hand, Slugs are large, heavy, solid projectiles. Slugs extend your effective range, but for home defense, that's not needed. Slugs are much more likely to over-penetrate a target. Buckshot is typically the best defensive option for inside the home, since a shotgun's lethality comes from the multitude of projectiles that hit the threat per trigger pull. The larger the shell, the more pellets it can contain. Each shot delivers multiple pellets on contact, making them very effective for self-defense at close ranges. Let's start with the 12 gauge. This is the gold standard, the heavy hitter, the choice that's defended homes, fought wars, and protected law enforcement for over a century. A standard 12 gauge shell, typically 2 3/4 inches long, firing double-aught buckshot, carries 9 lead balls, each about the size of a .33 caliber pistol bullet. That's like firing a full magazine of 32 ACP bullets at once with one pull of the trigger. The energy transfer is massive. A 12 gauge can stop a threat faster and more decisively than almost any other firearm you could reasonably wield indoors. The advantages are clear: overwhelming stopping power, unmatched ammunition variety, widespread availability, and proven performance in every combat and defensive scenario imaginable. But with great power comes serious recoil. A full-power 12-gauge load generates heavy kick, enough to make smaller or inexperienced shooters hesitate, flinch, or even miss under pressure. And let's not forget about over-penetration. Double-aught buckshot is devastating, but it can easily blast through multiple interior walls. In an apartment or multifamily dwelling, that's a real danger to innocent people on the other side of thin drywall. The weight of a 12-gauge shotgun can also be a challenge. While heavier guns help soak up recoil, they can be slower to maneuver in tight hallways or around corners, exactly the kind of environments you'll be fighting in during a home invasion. Then there's the 20 gauge. If the 12 gauge is the sledgehammer, the 20 gauge is the scalpel. It fires a slightly smaller shell, typically around .615 inches in diameter, but still delivers fight-stopping energy. A 20 gauge buckshot load usually carries fewer pellets, maybe 6 to 9 depending on the load, but at home defense distances, it's still absolutely lethal. One of the biggest advantages of the 20 gauge is recoil, or more accurately, the lack of it. You get most of the stopping power of a 12 gauge, but with noticeably softer recoil. That means faster follow-up shots, better accuracy under stress, and less fatigue over long engagements. The 20 gauge also tends to come in lighter, handier shotguns, easier to swing, easier to aim, easier to store in tight spaces. If you're worried about recoil sensitivity, whether for yourself, a spouse, or another family member who might need to use the shotgun, the 20 gauge offers a near-perfect balance between control and power. That being said, it's not without drawbacks. While 20 gauge ammo is widely available, you won't find the same depth of specialized loads as you would with 12 gauge. And if you're facing multiple attackers or someone heavily armed or armored, the slightly reduced payload could, in theory, make a difference. But for 99% of real-world home defense scenarios, the 20 gauge is more than enough gun. And now we come to the 410 bore. Often misunderstood and underestimated, the 410's seen a major resurgence in the world of personal protection. It's the smallest of the three, firing a shell that's only about 0.41 inches in diameter. Historically, the 410 was thought of as a beginner shotgun, great for kids, maybe okay for pest control, but not serious defensive work. Today that's changed. Thanks to specialized defensive loads like Winchester's PDX-1 Defender and Federal's 410 Triple Defense, the 410 can deliver multiple projectiles, buckshot, slugs, or even discs and BBs combined in devastating patterns at close range. The strengths of the 410 are clear: minimal recoil, lightweight, fast-handling guns, extremely fast follow-up shots, far lower risk of dangerous overpenetration compared to the 12 gauge. For elderly shooters, people with limited upper body strength, or anyone who just wants the fastest, most maneuverable home defense option, the 410 offers real advantages. But make no mistake, the 410 demands precision. Smaller payloads mean less margin for error. You need to be able to hit your target accurately and deliver follow-up shots fast if the first doesn't do the job. Ammo selection can also be more limited, and some cheap birdshot loads may not deliver the terminal performance needed to reliably stop a determined attacker. If you're choosing the 410, you must be disciplined about selecting the right loads, and you must train for speed and accuracy. Another critical factor you must consider, no matter the gauge, is shot placement and patterning. In Hollywood movies, shotguns blast everything within a 10-foot radius. Reality's very different. At typical home defense distances, say 7 to 15 feet, the shot spread from a defensive shotgun is often no more than the size of a softball. That means you still have to aim carefully. Don't fall into the myth that a shotgun's a magic wand that hits everything in front of it. You still have to do your part. Let's also address one of the biggest dangers people overlook: overpenetration. It's a real risk. Even birdshot fired at close range can penetrate multiple layers of drywall. Buckshot and slugs, they'll rip through multiple walls, doors, and furniture before coming to a stop. That's why home defense tactics must include understanding your environment. Know what's behind your walls, plan your safe zones, choose ammo that balances stopping power with controlled penetration. Now let's talk about specific ammo choices. For 12 gauge double-aught buckshot's the standard. It delivers maximum stopping power, but you might also consider number 1 buckshot or number 4 buckshot. Still lethal, but with smaller pellets that can reduce the risk of overpenetration. For 20 gauge, buckshot loads like number 2 or number 3 buck offer an excellent balance of pellet size, energy, and manageable recoil. And for 410 bore, specialized defensive rounds like the Winchester PDX-1, which combines discs and BBs, or Federal's buckshot loads are essential. Don't rely on birdshot. It's made for small game, not determined attackers. Training is non-negotiable. Simply owning a shotgun does not make you safer. You must train to operate it instinctively. Practice loading under stress. Practice cycling the action. Practice moving with the shotgun through doorways, hallways, and stairwells. Muscle memory is what keeps you alive when the adrenaline dumps and fine motor skills go out the window. Dry fire practice, range time, home defense drills with a partner. If you're serious about defending your home, you must be serious about training. Let's talk setups. First, a weapon-mounted light is mandatory. You must be able to positively identify your target. Never, ever fire at a shadow or a noise. If your shotgun doesn't have a light, you're at a massive disadvantage. Second, a simple, rugged sling can be a lifesaver. It keeps your hands free to open doors, help loved ones, or administer first aid if necessary. Third, consider ammunition carriers, side saddles, or butt cuffs, so you have extra shells on hand in case the situation goes longer than you expect. And let's not forget about firearm choice. For 12 gauge, the Mossberg 590 Tactical and Remington 870 Tactical are battle-proven platforms, rugged and reliable. For 20 gauge, the Mossberg 500 or the Remington 870 Youth models offer light, fast handling without sacrificing durability. For 410 bore, the Mossberg 500 410 Home Defense model is an outstanding choice. And if you're considering a handgun-style 410 like the Taurus Judge or Smith & Wesson Governor, be sure you train hard. Those platforms require skill to be effective, and they can be highly versatile. Now it's time to put it all together. If you are physically strong, experienced with firearms, and can handle serious recoil under stress, the 12 gauge remains the ultimate fight stopper. It's the gold standard for a reason. If you want a better balance between power and control, the 20 gauge offers tremendous advantages, almost all of the effectiveness of the 12 gauge with far easier handling, especially for smaller framed or less experienced shooters. And if recoil management's your top priority, if speed, maneuverability, and easy handling matter most, or if you have specific needs like elderly defenders or disabled family members, the 410 bore offers a legitimate, powerful option with the right ammo and training. At the end of the day, the best home defense shotgun isn't the one with the biggest shell, the flashiest paint job, or the most tactical accessories. It's the one you can deploy instantly, aim confidently, shoot accurately, and control under the worst pressure you'll ever experience. Only you can decide what that looks like for you, but once you do, commit to it. Learn it inside and out. Make it second nature. Your life and the lives of the people you love could depend on it. If this deep dive helped you out, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps us keep bringing you real-world survival and defense content. Subscribe for more videos breaking down everything you need to know to stay safe and ready no matter what the world throws at you. And sound off in the comments. What gauge do you trust for home defense? 12 gauge, 20 gauge, 410? Let's hear what you're running, what loads you prefer, and why. Sharing your setup could help someone else make the right choice. This is Survival Gear. Stay sharp, stay ready, stay alive.